Yeah, I also don't want to do this. But I have to. Welcome back to my channel. If you've never been here before, I'm Fat Sajak. And I don't want to do this. But I have to. Ah, well. You know what we're here to talk about. You can read. Presumably, I don't know your life. Georgia Peach. Anyway, Gabbie Hanna is forging on in her quest to perpetually reheat the same goddamn nachos she's been trying to reheat for the past 5 or so years now, in the hopes that if she could just tell her side, we would all convert to Gabbie Hanna Standum and be one with our Lord and Savior Jesus Christ or some shit. I don't know. Unfortunately, I'm old and stubborn. I contain the ability to think critically and believe the things that I've seen, heard, and witnessed with my own eyes, ears, and brain. And let me tell you, I've seen a lot of stuff. I've seen a lot of stuff. And hey, if you like seeing stuff, make sure you subscribe to my channel. Smooth segue. I also have a Patreon where we hang out and watch nostalgia content and have a fun time over there. So if you can't get enough of my smart ass mouth or my wonky ass eye, then that's where you can find me. And as always, there's links below to help out our pals on the ground in Minnesota, and an ever-growing list of ways to help out our fellow people during this tumultuous time, to put it mildly. Alright, now back to the bullshit. So Gabbie Hanna decided to take to the internet last week with a podcast titled something like, Why Trisha Paytas Ruined My Life, and I'm not responsible for literally anything that I've ever done because other people drove me to treat other unrelated people very badly, but now I found God, so I can't really be held responsible. Peace be with you, and also with you. Paraphrasing, of course. Now, in terms of the stuff she still has a problem with, I want you to think of it like astrology, wherein her big 3 is Jessie Smiles, Trisha Paytas, and the drama channels, apparently. And if that feels like a very familiar sentiment to you, it should. Because again, for the better part of a decade, Gabbie's been trying to make fetch happen. And it's not going to happen. Katie Heron. I know that line is said to Regina George, but Gabbie fancies herself a Katie Heron because she thinks Katie's the victim and not one of the villains. She missed the point of the movie Mean Girls. Anywho, Gabbie uploaded another podcast episode, and leading up to it, posted some pretty, unhinged shit on her Patreon, which I would like to point out is public and free, and it states it as such on her Patreon. So I'm going to share some of this with you. I am not replicating this as my own. I do not own any of this. This all belongs to Gabbie Hanna, even if I can't even imagine a world when I would want to claim that this was mine. So I was going to try to bring this to Adam McIntyre's attention the other day, that a whole bunch of this was just directed at him. But it is literally all the same stuff that she's been saying. Talking about Jessie and how calling everyone her abusers, throwing God into the mix, and then she reaches this point where she says she has empathy for the drama channels. Jesus did it. He actually shifted my heart into full-blown empathy and compassion. For years I've been grappling with the command to forgive and love your enemies. But this last week, even as of this morning, Jesus has shoved me into the space of radical love and sorrow for them. This past week I felt something I haven't felt in a long time. The wrath, bitterness, and resentment of the past. In speaking up and sharing my testimony. By the way, you're going to have to get really used to the word testimony. If you are, no, I'm not even going to say what I was going to say. Don't turn it into a drinking game. Unless you're hydrating. You still might drown, though. In speaking up and sharing my testimony, I knew it was going to stir up their demons. And mine. Still knowing I had to face my fear and use my voice. And it reminded me. That's what these people feel all the time. Even if there isn't hate being directed their way, it's coming from within them, and that curse is so much worse. First of all, let me just say, there's a difference between having hate in your heart and being like a hater, okay? There's a big difference. I don't hate anyone that isn't like a fucking absolute monster, that isn't out here ruining people's lives, that isn't, you know, categorically dangerous to other people, okay? And even then, I don't wake up in the morning and go, I hate that person. Dame Judi Dench. I can't speak for my fellow commentary channels, and nor would I try to. But I feel pretty confident in saying, like, nobody wakes up and thinks about Gabbie Hanna. I don't think any of us wake up and think about her. I don't think she's the last thing we think about before we go to bed at night. No, girl, I'm out here doing my nighttime routine, eating fruit and doing my skincare, drinking some water, and then ultimately falling asleep watching compilations of Bonnie Hunt on David Letterman. It's really the last thing I think about at night is not going to be Gabbie Hanna ever. It's really not. Unless she breaks into my home, it's not going to be it. Because listen, I experience hate all the time. I'm a target for hate all the time. Even when I'm offline teaching and creating programs at the Young Men's Christian Association. Young men, they are directing hate. Who's directing hate? The people at the YMCA? That sounds like a you problem. When I'm sharing what Jesus did for me, sharing my wedding, sharing my music, sharing my art, they are directing hate. Actually, I think it would be a fair assumption to say, considering I believe it was iNabber who called me something of a Gabbie Hanna historian, which is a fair thing to say and something I absolutely would never put on a resume. I have been hyper critical of Gabbie Hanna. And I will say there have been times where I've been downright mean, and I'm not going to deny that. What I am going to say though is, like, when Gabbie got married, the thing that I said was her wedding dress is beautiful. She looks beautiful. The wedding photos that they shared were beautiful. And that I hoped that she was going to take this opportunity to stay offline and live a happy, quiet life with her husband. And I feel like that was the general sentiment. Did I think that her apology for nothing and calling it an apology for everything, basically, was really shitty and poorly done? Yes. Did I say that out loud? Yes. Do I think she hides behind some religious delusions to skirt responsibility for the things that she's done that have actually actively harmed people? Yeah, big time. But no, I honestly, again, have been hypercritical of Gabbie Hanna since 2020, 2021, when I started making commentary videos here. I've always been hypercritical of Gabbie Hanna, and I always will be, until she learns how to properly take accountability and stop projecting all of her own problems and insecurities on other people. However, I'm also, like, pretty fair and balanced, and I will always call it what it is. What you're gathering is, like, everybody is trashing everything you're doing and have ever done, then you're not listening. Because it's so interesting how you know that people are being hateful about what Jesus did for you, sharing your wedding, sharing your music, sharing your art, that people are directing hate, even though you say you're not even listening to the things that we're saying. It feels like a lie. But the feeling of hate coming from within you is an anguish that I wouldn't wish on anyone. I'm unfamiliar with that feeling. So this is projection, okay? So this is, again, I can't speak for all, like, commentary channels, drama channels. I'm going to speak for me, okay? Someone who has been not on Gabbie Hanna's side very often, okay? That hate coming from within me doesn't exist. I don't think about you. I really don't. After experiencing that again for a few short days after posting my podcast, I have newfound compassion and empathy for them. I was going to bed and waking up thinking about them for multiple days. Well, that's weird. In fact, I guess I was even this morning because I wrote a blog, like, as soon as I woke up about it. This isn't my resting state, but it is their resting state. No, hun. No. I hate to break it to you, but I have a whole life that has literally nothing to do with you. Nothing at all. In fact, when I post a video here, I have forgotten 98% of the things that I said in that video. I have no idea what the last video I posted was about. I don't think about you ever. And I'm not going to start now. You have to understand that it's a completely different experience. And this is where I can come out at it with a little bit of empathy. This is a different experience for Gabbie Hanna than it is for commentary channels, okay? We're going to call you on the things you're lying about because the things that you lie about hurt other people. And that's just the way it is. Whether you want to accept that as reality or not, it is the reality. Your words and actions have hurt people. So we're going to continue to call you on that because you're not allowed to rewrite history. You're not allowed to have a second life on any sort of other platform where you can pretend like you were the victim in all of these situations. And that's why you don't like us. And that's why it feels like we dogpile on you. But the reality is that if you lived in reality and you actually addressed your own real demons, like your mental health demons, and you actually really took real accountability for the things you did do, regardless of the things you didn't do, if you took real accountability for the specific things you did do, hearing out Jesse's rapist, let's start there. We could have a different conversation and it wouldn't feel like you were being dogpiled on. Because for however many hate videos there are about you, there are equally as many, and included in those videos in particular, people wishing that you would just have a moment of actual self-realization where you actually made amends for the things that you've done and could actually find a redemption arc in you. But what do I know? Hate is my resting state. They go to bed and wake up every day thinking about someone else. Yeah, someone else that isn't you. You are so far down on the list. You were my video topic for today and you still weren't in the top 5. They hear my voice in their head every day. No, not a day passes that they don't think about me. I don't know if it's egotistical or psychotic. I can't tell. About whoever else they're talking about. Actually, it would be about whomever, but they can't all be winners. The conflict and drama consumes them. It pays them. It feeds them. Yeah, it pays me. I mean, if you bothered to listen to most of us, I think you would hear a bunch of measured takes. I imagine it would be hard to hear anything over how loud you're fucking projecting, though. But it doesn't feed and pay me. It hurts and destroys me because I'm a child of God and because I have found favor with Him. How do you know? How do you know? I mean, like, even as a Christian, like a devout Christian, you're pretty new to that. It's a pretty bold statement. He doesn't allow me to be rewarded and encouraged by it because He's marked me for heaven. Because from childhood I was baptized in the name of Jesus. Yeah, so was I. Your point? Professing Him as my Savior. Ah, yes. When we are infants and we make sure that we profess God as our Savior. He heard my prayer to not let me go too far down the wrong path, and when I started down that path, He turned me around and dragged me out, kicking and screaming. Okay. That sounds like something you might need medication for. 99.8% of days I go to bed and wake up in prayer. Next to my husband. I go to bed and wake up thinking about the money we're able to put out and the good we're able to do. I go to bed and wake up thinking about the songs we have to record, the choreography I want to perfect, the art I want to compile into a book, the stories I want to tell, the poetry I want to write, the home projects I want to complete. That's great. And then when you get out of bed, you make a podcast where you bring up old fucking drama that everyone else has moved on from. Go do the music. Go do the art. Go do that and shut the fuck up. And if I allow myself to slip into sin, I go to bed and wake up thinking about people who are truly just a voiceless series of screenshots in my head. Okay, so stay offline. Seems pretty self-explanatory. They have all my post notifications on. No, I don't even follow you. Gabbie Hanna. Okay, there she is. I don't even fucking follow you, ho. I don't subscribe to your Patreon. I don't follow you. You blocked me on Twitter years ago. I don't follow you on Instagram. So, no. I'm waiting with bated breath on every word I say. Wow. You sure think you say things that are worth waiting for. That's how I feel about Jesus. I can't, oh, yeah, me too. I have my post notifications turned on for Jesus too. Can't imagine being this obsessed with anyone other than God and then my man, and I assume my future kids. Please don't have kids. I don't want to be mean about this. I said this the last time we talked about Gabbie. I don't want to be mean about it, but like the last thing Gabbie Hanna needs is children. Actually, the last thing children who didn't ask to be here need is Gabbie Hanna for a parent. Because if this is Gabbie Hanna as a person, I don't want to see Gabbie Hanna as a parent. I know that's like a harsh thing to say, and I apologize for it being a harsh thing to say, but parenting, being an actual parent to children, requires a level of selflessness and a level of care that I don't think, from what has been shown to me publicly and what people have shown of Gabbie privately, those children would not deserve that. And I'm not saying it to be mean. I know that it's a harsh thing to say. Like, she has not resolved her demons enough just to exist online. How do you think she's going to have resolved her demons enough to raise children? Anyway, I'm feeling a new level of healing in this situation. It's not just about forgiveness, it's about compassion. I hate that they don't see a better life outside of drama and gossip. I hate that they're wasting their talents in life. I hate that their entire existence depends on bringing others down under the guise of doing good. Okay, hate that all you want. It's a genre that's not going away, and it's existed far before, like, it existed long before Gabbie Hanna became famous and it became a problem for her personally. To have like a channel work because the host is charismatic or likable or whatever, that's a talent. Honor your personality as a talent. And it doesn't mean that they don't have other talents, and it doesn't mean that they're not using them. I don't know. Personally, I would rather talk about the intricacies of like somebody's, you know, public falling out with another public figure than hawk a bunch of shit on TikTok shop. Why do I want to hug the little baby version of Angelica Oles? Because you're being patronizing. That's why. Why do I want to tell her to stay in school and have confidence in herself and her real goals and to not give up on her real dreams? Maybe she's good. She's had a very successful YouTube career that was not built on the back of Gabbie Hanna. Leave her alone. Let's play a game. Let's play a game called What Do Angelica Oles, Jessie Smiles, Trisha Paytas, Adam McIntyre, Rich Lux, Smoky Glow, Ready to Glare, T-Spill, Spill Sesh, Nick, Dustin, what do all those people have in common? Oh, they're all women or gay men, because Gabbie Hanna has never decentered men a day in her life. Why do I want to hug baby Dustin daily and tell him, you're not ugly, you're not a loser, you're not an outcast, and you don't need to make anyone else feel that way? I don't know, why don't you go back in time when you made fun of him for crying because his sister died, and then maybe you can ask that version of yourself. But maybe I just have the memory of the sweet guy who was reacting to my music back in the day. Right, so before you were acting like an asshole to everyone, people were more positively accepting of you as a human, and you're yearning for that time. You know, you're in control of how you act, right? Just check in. Okay. That's how I'm choosing to view them from now on. Even Jessie, even Trisha, just hurt, traumatized people who are doing to me what's been done to them. And now I can return to where I was before I got sidetracked this past week, which is a place of forgiveness. But that forgiveness has expanded into genuine love. To the drama channels who are reading this, I know y'all hate me, but I love you, fam. I really do. I really am rooting for all of you because I know where I came from and what I became and who I am now. And I know God is going to do the same for you. Girl, shut the fuck. Shut up. Girl, no hate like Christian love, I tell you what. Oh my goodness. And there are a bunch of other posts like this. One of them asking Adam McIntyre specifically to like reach out and like, it's so weird to me to be so fixated on yourself and to be so fixated on what other people think of you instead of actually taking time to be like introspective and say like, hey, I wonder what I'm doing to cause this. It's gotta be something. And here's the thing too, is like, I think one of the most important things to remember, especially if you're like on the fence, or you're one of those people who are like, yeah, people were terrible to Gabbie. You know, it doesn't excuse what she's doing, but like, people were bad to her. I'd like you to please, like, remember that there's never ever going to be a life lived where you are in the right or you were the victim in every single situation. And Gabbie Hanna has made herself the victim in every single one of these situations. Even the ones she apologized for, she took back. For example, in her original series, she talked about the Bianca Devins situation, which I've explained this before, but Bianca Devins was a girl who was murdered, and she was featured in an article when Gabbie and her friend, they were looking at inspo pics for an e-girl look. And again, I don't know if Gabbie didn't know what the article was, or she was literally just looking at the photos or whatever, but it had the photo of this girl in it, and people were like, hey, you should take that down. That girl was literally murdered. And instead of saying anything about it, Gabbie just blurred out the photo. And then because people are not going to go back and check, they assumed that she was just ignoring the situation. She made an apology. It was a good one. All of the commentary channels basically were like, good job, did good apology. And then she turned that on the drama channels. And then she basically blamed Angelica Oles specifically for causing extra pain to the Devins family, while Gabbie continued to use their daughter's name for this vendetta against drama channel. And in her series basically said, like, I apologized for something I should never have even apologized for. So you're taking your apology back. Got it. So there's no scenario in which Gabbie has ever actually taken accountability and stuck to it. The closest she probably ever got was saying like, oh, I was kind of a pain on Escape the Night. And even that, she didn't really speak in many specifics. So it's like, I don't know. You want us to believe you're the victim in every scenario, in every situation, really? Like, I don't think so, Chief. I don't think that's a possibility. I think the main point is like, she spent the entire last podcast episode, and I'll link that below if you haven't seen it yet. It's 3 hours of me like trying not to throw myself out the window. She and her man, who Peter Mon has effectively called Ken, and I'm afraid that's gonna have to stick, so we're gonna start calling her husband Ken. She and Ken said the quiet part out loud, which was that things were really positive when Gabbie first started posting on TikTok again, and she started posting all these thoughts. And then it seems like the comment section switched up, and people who know Gabbie's history and know who she is and have watched her slip into this sort of like religious psychosis, manic episode type shit on TikTok before are watching the pattern develop, which is that she's just manically posting. And she's posting, you know, crazy stuff. Like, let's call it what I don't mean to be derogatory about it, but like, it's crazy shit. You're posting, free PR advice to fucking Taylor Swift. I'm sorry, she's never gonna see that, and even if she did, she wouldn't take advice from Gabbie Hanna, who can't even get online without having a fucking meltdown. Well, she said the quiet part out loud, which was that once those comment sections turned, she got pissed off because she couldn't correct the record anymore, because people were like, hey, I don't know if you know this about Gabbie Hanna, but she's been a terrible person and has never made amends for it. I think that's the thing, is all these like content creators get hung up on cancel culture and like, oh my god, cancel culture, and I'm gonna get canceled, and I'm canceled, and oh my god, there's nothing I can do. I can't please everyone. As a commentary channel, if you're a creator who creates outside of commentary, let me help you out, okay? For me, my standard is you acknowledge the thing you did, show your growth, and you just make amends with the people that you've hurt. It's really not that complicated. Am I saying that like your comments are going to be filled with just abject positivity after that? Probably not. There's probably going to be a period of time where people are going to hate you, or feel a certain type of way about you, or not know that you've apologized, or you might have to make that apology several times or make that acknowledgement several times. But like, at least you will have done something that says that you give a fuck about the things that you've done to other people. You know what I mean? So, you know, the whole thing where like this podcast was so well thought out and we did all of these, it's like, no. This podcast came from a place of I'm not liking what I'm seeing in my comment section, and so we're going to make a podcast now. Gossip is a sin. So here's my drama podcast. Like, you're no better than a drama channel at this point, girl. Okay. Anyway. All right. So Gabbie Hanna did put up another episode of her podcast. Whoops. I got delayed on finishing this. I believe when we left off, we were about to watch the podcast. And in the interim, Gabbie has also uploaded a TikTok about Adam McIntyre. So we're going to get into both of those. Let's do the podcast first. Nice. He's good for something.
I need to make a new email address. Love you. Thanks for tucking me in. Well, it is much later in the day than I was expecting. It's 5:30.
God, same, girl. Except it's 8:41 here.
I was going to record this like as soon as I woke up. And then I got amazing, joyful news that has just had me so giddy. And then I got sidetracked. It's not my news. I'm not pregnant.
Thank God.
And it has nothing to do with me, actually. It's just something really exciting coming from my friend. As I'm sitting here trying to figure out how to start sharing my testimony, I'm thinking, wow, it's such a big story that every time I sit down to tell it, it's so convoluted and there's so many different facets of it. So I'm going to start by sharing my testimony of this past week.
I'm going to start by sharing my testimony of wishing I was dead. Just kidding. But like, let's define for a moment the word testimony. Testimony is defined as a formal written or spoken statement, especially one given in a court of law, evidence or proof provided by the existence or appearance of something, or a public recounting of a religious conversion or experience. So you're going to hear the word testimony like a whole lot. So I figured it's important to just define words, because I think one thing that we can all agree on is that Gabbie Hanna is really good at just taking words and then just like beating the fuck out of them until, they don't mean anything anymore. I'd also like to take this opportunity to define the word slander, which is defined as the action or crime of making a false spoken statement damaging to a person's reputation. I would also like to take a moment to define or sort of narrow down what a narcissist is, okay? So, narcissist, and that's not someone formally diagnosed with NPD, which is narcissistic personality disorder. This is someone who is acting with narcissistic traits. Okay, so there is a difference. So if I refer to Gabbie as a narcissist, I am not diagnosing her. I am shortening the way I say that she is displaying narcissistic traits. Okay, you can have narcissistic traits without a diagnosis of NPD, okay? And I think the internet has a hard time differentiating between the two, so. But a narcissist typically acts with an inflated sense of self-importance, a profound lack of empathy, and an insatiable need for admiration. Sound familiar? It should. They're often charming initially, but become manipulative, arrogant, and entitled, frequently exploiting others to fulfill their own needs. Common behaviors include exaggerating achievements, ignoring boundaries, and responding to criticism with rage. Does that also sound familiar? It should. Narcissism is characterized by a grandiose sense of self-importance, a lack of empathy for others, a need for excessive admiration, and the belief that one is unique and deserving of special treatment. If you encounter someone who consistently exhibits these behaviors, you may be dealing with a highly narcissistic individual. Obviously, that last sentence is speculative and hard to make a blanket statement on that. So just a few vocab words before we really get into this, okay?
Because I think it paints a beautiful picture of what Jesus actually has done for me and how he has actually changed my life. Last week I posted a podcast, which I called episode 1, but I'm going to call this episode 1.
Right, because the last one didn't go over very well. There are 3,364 comments on this video, and most of them are not positive. And that's not this video. That's not the one we're watching right now. It has 75,000 views, which with a channel with almost 5 million subscribers is not very many, even with trying to stir up drama. So it's good to see that the stock market isn't the only thing that's down. And then this one that she just uploaded she uploaded 2 days ago and has only 17,000 views. People seem to already be over this shit. And a lot of the comments on this are really, really bad. Really bad. We're going to go over some of them in a little bit because I've been reading through them just to kind of gauge where, like, the public perception is at, you know? The public has perceived this as bullshit. Just so you know. But this whole second episode is very clearly like this rage, you know, podcast I was trying to start didn't go over as well. Hence all of the posts on Patreon. And then hence, like, kind of trying to turn this podcast into something else, I guess.
And I'm going to call that the prelude because that's not what this podcast is, what it's going to be, or what it's about.
But I thought that's what it was because I thought you couldn't move on until you told your story for the 3 billionth time.
But what that was for me was facing a fear. And although it was messy, it was walking in obedience in that God has been calling me for a long time to share my testimony. And every time I've tried, I would get so hung up on certain aspects of it that I felt like I had to tiptoe around or over-explain. And I was afraid of upsetting people who wanted to hurt me, who want to hurt me, who have hurt me.
Okay. Well, considering your last series where you told your testimony already, in great detail, half of it was proven to be either untrue or worse than what you were sharing. And you had no problem sitting in a room screaming at the audience at large, screaming at drama channels, calling them out by name, as well as Jesse, as well as Trisha. You were viciously mean, and you were lashing out at all of them. So, color me skeptical, but I really don't feel the fear radiating off of you again.
And God does not call us to live in a spirit of fear. And that spirit of fear was not only holding me back from sharing my testimony, it was holding me back from trying to get involved.
Okay. That sounds like a you problem, though.
A huge part of my story, I would say like the crux and the climax of my testimony includes slander. And
again, Gabby really just likes to talk. She likes to hear herself talk. That's why these blog posts she makes are like 3 miles long. She just wants to hear herself talk. I don't even think she needs an audience to really listen at this point.
Public humiliation. And when I bring that up today, the naysayers say you have to leave it in the past. All of these people haven't spoken about you in years. But the thing about slander is it's not a single attack. Slander is designed to ruin your life.
Right. Would we consider making a public Instagram poll about whether or not it was appropriate for you to discuss someone's sexual health with someone else while not completely editing out the photo of the person you're talking about who also happens to be a public figure? Sending your millions of Instagram followers over to them knowing what's going on? Do you think that's not something that you did to Trisha Paytas? Do you think that that's not something you did to Jesse Smiles? When you said that Jesse was looking for any excuse to get emotional on a phone call where you talked about how you heard out her rapist because he's a human being? Okay, sure.
It's designed to ripple into every single facet of everything you do. It's meant to ruin your reputation.
And I'd love the data on who did that, what it was, and when it happened. Because you're speaking in very vague terms. The only reason the audience at large thinks you're a piece of shit is because you've acted like a piece of shit. That's got nothing to do with Jessie Smiles, Trisha Paytas, or any of the drama channels. No drama channel has planted a seed in anyone's head to make you look like a bad person when you've been a good one. Because we've yet to see you act like a good person, at least in the last 5 to 6 years. And not to mention, all the drama channels that you're so angry at were very concerned about you as a human being, but you don't know how to accept both things being true. You don't know how to accept people holding you to account and those same people having the humanity to worry about you as a person. Seems like there's some self-reflection and growth that needs to happen here. Just a little bit.
So it's not something that, well, that happened to you years ago, you got to get over that. No, slander is an ongoing attack.
Right. Like continuing on a feud with a former friend who, was a victim of sexual assault. And then you made that your trauma. Cool.
And that's my testimony. Like, that is what saved my life. That was the pivotal moment of God intervening and answering my prayer on my come up when I said, God, don't let me stray too far. I'm so thankful to the Holy Spirit for putting that prayer on my heart.
You're just saying words. These things, this is just like empty platitudes. These things don't mean anything. They don't mean anything. Nothing about this means anything. You're just saying, we're just regurgitating church speak. Like, this isn't even meaningful. You're not even saying anything.
Because that level of wisdom to pray that prayer at that point in my career, with the fear of hell ingrained in me from childhood, praise God, thank you to my parents, my grandparents, because hell is real.
Okay, for you, maybe, sure. In the Catholic Christian religions, sure, hell is very real for people with that faith. I stopped being a Catholic because I didn't believe that threatening people with hell, an eternity in hell for human sin, where we are given free will, but if we use that free will to act like people, then we burn in hell for all eternity. With having to have a blind allegiance to an intangible illusion of a God. And if I dare question that, then I burn in hell for all eternity. Not only did that seem unrealistic, it also seemed like a shitty way to live. And if I'm wrong, then that's my problem. And I would be burning in hell anyway. So, again, these are empty platitudes. This is nothing. This is word salad.
Heaven is real. Religion is a mess. But there are realities to the spiritual world, and one of them is our soul continues on, and there's a destination.
Okay, but like that is of your faith. There are many religions who believe other things. There are also people who believe that nothing happens to you when you die. I think religion is a very personal thing. Spirituality is a very personal thing. Theism as a concept, typically a pretty personal thing, whether you believe or you don't. And like, I thought this was your testimony about your life. Again, a formal written or spoken statement, evidence or proof provided by the existence or appearance of something, a public recounting of religious conversion or experience. This is just empty, hollow church speak. That's all we've gotten here.
And this earth is where we get to make the choice. Do we want to spend eternity in God's house, in God's presence? Because he has boundaries.
Well, at least he does.
He has rules. And if you're somebody who likes to lie or be mean or treat each other disrespectfully in any way,
you mean like
that's how narcissistic and abusive this person is. Face yourself, bitch. Also listen to Curtis because he's a human being. She's not a fucking artist. I don't care about her fucking opinion because she has no accomplishments in art or has proven to me that she's actually intellectual enough to understand art. I accept my criticism from talented, smart people, not abusive, toxic, exploitative bullies. Fuck you. Fuck all of these people. You're a fucking monster. You're a bitch. You fucking narcissistic abuser piece of shit. He said, can I tell you my story? And I said, yes, I'll listen. Where the real narcissism comes in is she says I'm talking about her for attention. Miss 4K views on your commentary piece a week ago? Yeah, I just checked. What is it, you manipulative narcissistic bitch? You fucking weird ass bitch. You said everything I want to say unless she opens her fucking mouth and says something else. You're a manipulative bitch and I'm done dealing with it. You fucking sick, twisted bitch. I think it's reasonable to assume that consent was implied, especially because they were broken up. You can still rape somebody if you're in a relationship, by the way. But if they were together and that she had previously told him something and there was a misunderstanding, I think that would probably be a different story. Fuck you! So I had to repent this week, and the instant change in my mental health, my purpose, my focus, my sleep, my diet, like everything changed when I repented of these sins. So here's kind of what happened in the past couple weeks.
I posted a video. It didn't go over well. The comments were all bad. Everyone told me to get offline and that I needed to move on and self-reflect and perhaps actually read the Bible and reflect in my religion to find answers that were not self-serving. And so I decided to come back and rebrand it a little. Did I get that right?
I sat down to share my testimony. I was feeling very called and pushed again. I had just come out of this phase that I go in and out of, which is, I don't want to do this anymore. I don't want to be a public figure. I don't have to do this anymore. I just want to leave.
Then leave, girl. You were doing fine. And like, by the way, none of us were really talking about you in any negative capacity while you were offline. It's the times when you come back online because you behave in really heinous ways when you return. You're always treating someone badly or starting some shit. I mean, if you don't do those things, this doesn't exist, which is why I have to believe part of this dynamic is on purpose. Rent's due, as they say, or whatever.
Exit. It's hard. It hurts my feelings. Like, I'll be just genuinely so peaceful and enjoying life, not thinking about any of this, moving on.
Then someone holds a gun to your head and forces you to turn on your Canon and make a video? What? I'm missing like the hostage situation part of this where you end up having to come back here. Get a journal, babe.
But then I open up YouTube because I just want to enjoy the platform like anybody else. And I'm served a viral video of a creator I've never even seen before with hundreds of thousands of views on a video saying that my Christian girly era is sad and depressing and concerning.
Well, it is. I mean, I want to talk a little bit more about the religious psychosis aspect of this, but I'll get there. And I can understand that, like, on a baseline level, I can empathize with the fact that it's probably pretty jarring to just open up YouTube and find videos of yourself being talked shit about, sure. But I think also your algorithm is kind of based on your consumption. Also, I think one of the things that Gabbie's missing as a key part of this, as far as like the commentary and drama channels are concerned, is that the landscape of the commentary and drama community, I feel like, has changed a lot from where it was like 5 years ago. It's a lot less like tea and bitchy, like one-upping stories and all of that. I feel like it's more thoughtful commentary now than anything. So even if a title is a bit like egregious or clickbaity or, you know, just a little flashier to get people to click, because like my titles are fucked. Like I think we all know that. The commentary itself is often a lot more thoughtful than it used to be. So you may be getting a title that's a little more outlandish, but if you bothered to listen to the commentary and criticism, you might learn something about yourself.
And it hurts me. This is a today thing.
Okay, but this is also like a content creator thing. This is the nature of this career. It always has been since the advent of the commentary channel. And I think you'd be surprised that a lot of it isn't negative. It's constructive, which is exactly what Gabbie says she wants. So that is the nature of this business. That is the nature. I'm sorry, but it is. There is a commentary community on this platform. And yeah, I'm sure there are some that are mean and are full of vitriol and all of that. And the thing is that Gabbie decided to align herself with people like that at the end of the last time she tried to do this. She tried to align herself with like Keemstar. Gabbie only likes drama and commentary channels for as long as she can use them to her advantage. When they all turn on her and they're all not responding, or they're not all, you know, chomping at the bit to sing her praises, then she hates them and they're ruining her life and hurting her feelings. I think at this point it's safe to say that like the internet is not for Gabbie Hanna anymore. I don't think she can handle being online at all. And like that's unfortunate because, you know, everyone should be able to get online and like watch a YouTube video unbothered, but like, girl, you have to save your own mental health at this point. And the internet is not a place for you to do that.
And that's a part of my testimony. Is every single day I have to forgive the people who slandered me to the point of actually gaslighting me into a mental health crisis.
You know what? I'm tired of this. I'm tired of this vague language. I'm really, really tired of this vague language. Show me. Show me where the gaslighting happened. Show me all of it. Show me how that gaslighting led directly to your mental health issues. I'll be goddamned if you're allowed to rewrite history. Because this time we were all here for this. Those of us who covered this era and all of these things that happened, we were there. You're not going to rewrite history on us. No one slandered you. Everyone used your own words. Most of us had your own words coming out of your own mouth in these videos. If you are slandered, if your reputation is damaged by these things, then you need to change what's coming out of your mouth, babe.
Face yourself, bitch. And I have to get triggered every time I open up TikTok and I see a post about showing signs of psychosis merely for existing.
Let's talk about it. First, I'm gonna cough. I'm not a doctor. I'm not a mental health professional. I'm just an asshole on the internet, okay? But I am an asshole who has OCD, right? The thing about OCD is that Gabbie alleges that she also has OCD. And she has used the word ruminating a few times in the last episode, which is a very, very common thing in OCD, is to ruminate on thoughts. It's actually a big part of the obsession part of obsessive compulsive disorder. You have the obsessive thought, which leads to the compulsive action. That's the disorder. That was beautiful. The obsessive thought for her, I believe, and again, not a doctor, not a mental health professional, not trying to diagnose anything, but I can absolutely connect the dots just the way my own brain works, how someone with OCD could fall into religious psychosis really, really easily. Because if you remember, around the time of her like manic episode, whatever you want to call it, Gabbie was looking for numbers everywhere. In license plates, in signs. She was looking for signs like from the universe or God or whatever. all of that is very, very typical of OCD, and I have myself been wrapped up in that, looking for specific numbers, and then it becomes a pattern where you're never not looking. And then when you realize that it's a pattern, it's exhausting, and you have to actively stop yourself from doing it, or you will do it until you die. So the looking for numbers really stood out to me, and I have to be honest, at the time I thought she was putting on an act, okay? But going from that to pure religious psychosis actually makes a lot of sense, because she's looking for God to change her algorithm, which is something she's going to talk about soon. And you're looking for signs. You're looking for, messages from God or a higher power or whatever. And she's literally trapped. This is my opinion, is that she's literally trapped in that cycle. I think her outer thoughts and her outer personality and the part of her that she's sharing with the internet is playing the God thing really hard, but the OCD part of her is really, really, really hung up on all the obsessive thoughts that come with that sort of religion, especially things like Christianity, where like a lot of the Catholicism, where a lot of the thought process is, if I do X, Y will happen, because that's very OCD thinking. If I don't do X thing, this person's gonna die. Like, that's how OCD works. So when I drop my kids off in the morning at school, I say a very few specific words. I have to say them every day when I drop them off, or my OCD tells me something awful is going to happen. And that is a compulsion I can live with. But again, I can see where those patterns build up and they can send you into a psychosis. What I cannot see is blaming everyone else for all the other stuff around it. So I don't even remember where this rant started, but I really wanted to connect the dots with the religious psychosis thoughts and the OCD rumination as well. Because I think they go hand in hand. And I'm not saying people with, I'm not saying that like all people with OCD who are also religious are in religious psychosis. I'm saying in Gabbie's specific situation, that's what it looks like to me. And that's just my opinion as a doctor of nothing.
Merely for speaking, it's hard. And that's part of my testimony. Because every time I try to quit, God, make sure it is clear, it is known. I gave you a special gift that not everybody gets. I gave you the gift of influence, whether you want it or not.
Okay. But he also gave you the gift of time, and yours is up. So that's enough.
It was never me who had it. This it factor, like it's God-given. It's not a choice. Like that charisma, that X factor, like that is God-given.
Is the charisma in the room with us right now, or?
And not everybody uses it for God's glory, but...
Yeah. Not everybody uses it for God's glory. Gabbie has been spending a lot of time over the course of her career, doing stuff for God's glory.
Face yourself, bitch.
I professed Jesus as my Lord and Savior as a child. I was baptized in his name. And he heard my prayer. He followed through on his promise. Like, I am his, I am marked.
And she's not saying anything. This is just church speak. This means nothing. The only sentence in there that made sense was that you were baptized. So was I. Cool, girl. We both got our heads dunked in water. Nifty.
So I knew that I had to address what happened to me. God was telling me that I had to speak about it.
First of all, interesting language. Nothing happened to you. These things didn't happen to you. Nothing happened to you. I'm not saying nothing ever happened to you, but in these scenarios, you are the perpetrator, not the victim. Okay? Okay.
Because there's no way to describe the depths of hell that God pulled me out of, that Jesus ripped me from, the pit that I was saved from by God's divine mercy, grace, and intervention.
Right. God really took the time to pull Gabbie Hanna out of her self-imposed pit of despair. But all them babies are still dying on the street. But Gabbie Hanna has been saved. I bet once those babies find God and Jesus, they'll be saved too.
His pure, almighty, present, supernatural intervention. He intervened for me.
Girl, shut the fuck up.
And I do have the support, by the way, of friends and family. A lot of people support me sharing this story. A lot of people don't. There's people that think I should just let it go and leave it in the past. But again, it's not my past. And the people who are actually closest to me and actually see how it impacts me on a day-to-day, they also feel like I should share.
Great. Why don't you share it with a therapist? You're not going to change minds here, no matter how hard you try to rewrite history with a new, unsuspecting audience. Like, if you actually just, sincerely, truly self-reflected and apologized and made amends with the people that you're struggling with, even just leave the drama channels out of it. If you made amends with Jessie alone, acknowledged where you were wrong without a but or however, and actually apologized, and then never fucking spoke about her again, could probably carry on and, like, have the career that you clearly still want online. You're too egocentric to do that. And now you're hiding behind Jesus as if, like, that's... I don't know. You're hiding behind religion like it's gonna fix all your problems is nuts to me. Because this isn't... Even if you convinced like 3 or 4 people, which is about the maximum you're gonna get, even if you convinced some people that you were the victim here, you were wronged by literally everyone ever, and you have never been wrong in your entire life, because in all of these scenarios, you have to be the one who was wronged and did nothing to deserve it. Even if that was the case, and you convinced a few others that you were in the right and everybody else is a dickhead, you're still not going to get what you want, which is, I don't know, attention probably, but also like peace of mind and like inner peace, like actual for real inner peace. You're not going to get that until you make things right, not only in your own mind, but with the people that you fucking hurt. That requires therapy, and lots of it. It doesn't require hiding behind God, picking up a devotional, quoting Bible verses. That's not going to fix your problem. And you're going to be miserable every single day of your life until you fucking figure that out. Everybody else is not your problem. You are your own problem, and you are your own fucking solution.
Aspects of my story, because I'm not the only person to experience psychological abuse.
Right, Jessie Smiles definitely has.
What?
I'm not the only person to be a victim of a narcissist.
Right, Jessie Smiles surely was.
What?
Or, in my case, so many narcissists who are profiting a lot. It's part of my testimony. I can't be afraid to talk about it.
Then talk about it in specifics. Like, use big girl words and talk about the specifics. You're not saying anything. You're just calling an abstract gaggle of people narcissists and abusers, like you were the last time we went through this. Again, a narcissist typically acts with an inflated sense of self-importance and a profound lack of empathy and an insatiable need for admiration. Like when you get mad because all your TikTok comments start to turn negative, frequently exploiting others to fulfill their own needs.
I am the fucking victim.
Common behaviors include exaggerating achievements.
She has no accomplishments in art or has proven to me that she's actually intellectual enough to understand art.
Ignoring boundaries.
Also listen to Curtis because he's a human being.
And responding to criticism with rage. For that, all I need to do is just gesture.
Face yourself, bitch.
Not sure why we're pointing the finger, pulling the trigger at other people, calling them narcissists, because Gabbie Hanna is not a master manipulator like she likes to pretend people say about her. She's actually just a master projector. Pull out the big white screen, Bob. We got a projector on our hands here.
But this past week, I slipped into a place that I haven't experienced in a while. And it was a place where I was feeling hatred in my heart. I wanted to retaliate. I wanted to seek revenge.
And that's not normal. That's not normal. Because I can guarantee, I feel like I could say this for myself and my fellow commentary channels, I don't think we carry hate in our heart for you. Like when you pop up, you're infuriating and exhausting to cover. I don't have any hate in my heart for you. I don't care enough about you to hate you. And I don't mean that as like an insult. I just mean you're not an integral part of my life. Like I don't wake up in the morning and think about you. I don't go to bed at night thinking about you. In fact, when I'm done filming this video, I'm not going to think about you. When I'm done editing this video tomorrow, I'm going to be really glad that I can stop thinking about you.
Face yourself, bitch.
You're exhausting. You're an exhausting person. And I can't imagine what it must be like to know you in real life, because holy shit, my guy, you are a lot.
Derogatory.
I wanted to hurt. I wanted to inflict some of the pain that I was feeling back on the people who inflicted it. And that wasn't even where I started with it. Where I started with it was I have to break the ice in order to tell my story, in order to move on, in order to continue on this path of healing that I'm on. But when you let your guard down, even just a little bit, if you allow distraction and sin to interfere with your time and relationship with God, the
God thing is a lot. Nothing tells me that you're a not for real Christian, like actually just referencing God whenever you decide to form the G sound phonetically with your mouth. Just say what you want to say. I felt angry about everything again, and I wanted to lash out at the people who hurt me. Like that's a valid feeling. Whether or not I agree with the reasons you're angry is irrelevant. That's a valid feeling that human beings have sometimes. Like, I just wish you would just bullet point this shit, take some fucking notes, write out the things you actually want to talk about specifically, and then say them. Because we can't take you seriously and we can't see your side or hear your fucking testimony if you're not saying things. You're just talking out of your ass and using the word God and testimony and narcissist every few words. Like, there's nothing being said here. What the goal is, what? To tell your story for what? So that we understand you and believe you? Then you have to be specific. You have to say the story. You have to talk about the things. You're alluding to like half of a story and then going off on sidequestsforgod.com, which I assume is a real website. Yeah, girl, I'd love to hear you out, but you have to say something first.
The outcome is absolutely, there is no mistaking. When I spend time in prayer with God, journaling, talking to Him, hearing from Him, studying, like genuinely engaging with Him, I am at peace. I am joyful. I have self-control. I see the future that is God's, that I can't make out, but I know is perfect and better than anything that I could ever imagine and could only be done by Him. I have that trust, that faith, that self-assurance.
That's called emotional regulation. Like, at the end of the day, that's what you're describing. Journaling and praying are both forms of self-regulation. You are regulating your emotions. You are regulating your nervous system. It's science. So that's great that you do that as a practice. Whether or not I believe in what you believe is irrelevant. You have found a way to center yourself. A lot of people do it through meditation. A lot of people do it through prayer. A lot of people do it through journaling. Some people do it through therapy, which I couldn't recommend more. You know, a lot of people have different ways to regulate their nervous system, right? It's a pretty common thing. So yeah, of course you're at peace. Of course you feel more aligned with the universe and shit like that, because you're regulating your nervous system. You still carry so much rage for people calling you out on your shit, and that's what it is. You can call it slander all you want, but if you had a case for slander or defamation, you would have sued somebody by now.
I have the fruit of the spirits: love, faithfulness, kindness, goodness, joy, self-control, peace, gentleness, patience. When I slip, which I did this past week because I was caught up in the trauma, I was distracted, I was scared, I was anxious, I was like trying to rev myself up, because to me this is like a little kid standing up to their bullies.
Girl, nobody is bullying you. Nobody was bullying you then. You chose to make a series in which you were going to set the whole fucking place on fire and take everyone who has ever crossed your path down with you. That was your plan. You said it yourself. You showed up to the party ready to try to take everyone down. And now you're trying to rewrite it like people showed up and just bullied your ass for no reason. And it's not gonna work. It's just not gonna work. And whatever you feel about, like, this is to the broader viewer, not just Gabbie Hanna, whatever you feel about people like Trisha Paytas is irrelevant. Because at the time, they were both acting like shitty people. They were both, you know, whether or not Trisha was legitimately didn't remember the things that Gabbie Hanna was saying, or she was just being an asshole, it's not that deep. It is not that deep. It was not that deep of a situation that it gaslit her into a mental spiral, a mental breakdown. I really want to know, like, what did you expect to happen when you got mixed up with Trisha Paytas? Like, that version of Trisha Paytas. Doing drugs, Trisha Paytas. Making crying videos on her kitchen floor, Trisha Paytas. Snapping off on anyone, Trisha Paytas. Like, what did you expect to happen? Were you expecting a reasonable, rational, like, outcome? I don't get it. I don't get it. Anyway, sorry, I'm getting distracted. Carry on with the word salad.
Like, I really have to like work up the courage and amp myself up. And this is something that I don't want to do. It causes physical ailment. Like, haters will say it's fake, but the physical effects of trauma within a couple days from when like I posted the podcast, like a few days later, I took probably 2 to 3 times my migraine medication than I ever need. Like,
haters will not say that trauma does not cause physical ailment. Haters will say that this was self-imposed.
right, I started drama. I just want attention.
You showed up thinking that you we're gonna talk your shit and get away with it, and after last time, no one's having it. You tried it, girl. Pack it up.
I was dry heaving, like spitting up bile. Like, it was really bad. Like, this isn't something that I like doing.
Again, you don't have to. Because you're not gonna change minds. You're not even gonna make your own self feel better. And you can tell by the comment section of this video that no one's buying it. The entirety of your comment section, with the exception of a handful of people who are like, yay, I'm so glad you found God, blah, blah, blah. You need to go to therapy. You're self-sabotaging right now. Please get help from an actual therapist and not ChatGPT. You need to get off the internet and live the rest of your days peacefully, because you are obviously not at peace when you are online. Everyone else has moved on. Jesse and Trish will not respond. They've matured and they're better than this. You need to mature and be better too. Period. A mouth full of scriptures and a heart full of hate. That's the one, dude. That's the one right there. This should be discussed with a therapist, not the internet at large. Gabbie, you're just yapping into the void. Being on the internet and broadcasting your healing process is not necessary. A lot of us watched your testimony in real time, and that resulted with many people disliking you for valid reasons. This all feels entirely self-serving. You acknowledge your bad qualities and then do nothing to actually change. You proceed to project those qualities onto everyone else. It's strange. You'll never understand us as long as you deem criticism and negative speech as slander and psychological abuse. Hiding behind religion is not going to free you. Blaming everyone else and begging for apologies will not bring you peace. It will only keep you resentful and trapped. Yes. 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 Gabbie, you are your own problem. Your reputation was ruined by you, your words, your actions, your choices, and your behavior. The past is gone. You can't change it or fix it. Holding grudges like you have is why you're struggling. You continue to project your issues onto other people and pretend you're healed and happy. You're not. You haven't forgiven. You haven't moved on. You're stuck in the past. Look up the Streisand effect and understand that bringing these issues up actually ends up unleashing even more criticism. Are you reading or watching when people give you legitimate criticism, or Do you just assume that anything that isn't sucking up to you is hate? Yes, I can answer that for her. Yes, that's exactly what's happening. Because to me, it seems like you're ignoring the real reasons people are critiquing you. I'm not writing this comment because of anyone else except you. Please get help. People are telling you that over and over again because you're not listening. This isn't helping you. This isn't making your situation improve. You aren't helping anyone else. Talk to a professional. Not your husband, not ChatGPT, not a religious leader, a real therapist who can be honest with you and work with you on figuring out why you're having such a hard time with all of this. See, like, they're negative comments, but they're constructive. Like, this is literally just like, girl, you're not, this isn't it. You will be so much happier when you stop worrying about changing people's perception of you. Yes, 100%. Embarrassing, but here's your engagement, I guess. If God is real, he would have cut your internet access. We know your story. We just don't agree with you, and that's okay. I'm sorry, Gabrielle. Oh, we haven't even gotten to this. To God changing her FYP. But this comment will make sense to you soon. It says, I'm sorry, Gabrielle, but your FYP has an algorithm. God isn't listening. Your devices are. All right, let's get back to it. But I just want to make the point, like, no, very few people are buying into this.
It's just something that I have no choice but to confront and talk about publicly.
No, you do have a choice. You absolutely have a choice. Because this isn't going to do, clearly isn't going to do anything for you. You're not changing minds here. You can't change minds of people who can see clear as day the facts, the things that happened, the things you said. Face yourself, bitch.
Face yourself, bitch.
And it's embarrassing. Like, my story includes public humiliation.
Yeah, at your own hands, girl, for sure. That is embarrassing.
Which is embarrassing. That's the whole point. So it's things that I just honestly would rather forget in a lot of ways. And also have just like lived in fear for so long of just like, this person's going to see these clips or think this thing. And there's just been so much rejection over the years of like new friends
who can do a quick search up of your name on YouTube and see you being an absolute heinous bitch to people. Gabbie, nobody put these words in your mouth. Nobody put a gun to your head and made you do like a 16-panel Instagram story calling Rachel Oates a bitch like upwards of 10 times. No one made you make a video screaming at Angelica Oles to apologize to a family who didn't even know who the fuck she was. No one made you get online and speak disparagingly about trans people and call yourself a quote-unquote colored girl. No one is responsible for that. Even from a standpoint of mental illness, no one else is responsible for your mental illnesses or your mental health disorders or managing your mental health. In fact, many people called for wellness checks on you during this time because they were concerned about your mental health. And you will always take things like that, gestures of care and concern, and weaponize them against the people who cared and were concerned. So miss me with that bullshit, because I'm so tired of listening to how you were so scared while you're telling everybody, calling everybody fucking bitches and being downright nasty to people and screaming at them. Not to mention dragging on, and I cannot express this enough, but the situation with Jessie, where Jessie was a victim of literal rape, and you made it about you, about how you couldn't then talk about your rape because you'd be called a rape apologist.
Also listen to Curtis because he's a human being.
Jessie, who has only ever said, hey, stop talking about this, stop using my assault as your weapon. None of this needed to be public. None of it. None of it. This is all stuff that is fodder for a therapist. A real one. But the thing is Gabbie Hanna would never even, in my opinion, seek out a real therapist who would challenge her and tell her she's wrong. She doesn't want to hear that. She just wants to be validated and told she's right. And she's the gold medalist at the Trauma Olympics. She wins all the awards. Congratulations, Gabbie.
You know, they really want to work together and hang out, and then they like see something online or if somebody DMs them, like,
okay, but if they see something online, the chances are really good that it's literally just something you did or said directly from you. So again, I'm wondering how this is anyone else's fault but your own.
People just really have it out for me. Like my
God. Can we add professional victim to your resume, babe? Because holy shit.
friend gets DMs. My friends get DMs all the time just for like following me and like being associated with me. To this day, like it's really hard. But
Show them to me. Show me the DMs. I'd love to see them. I'd love to see where people are taking time out of their day to find unknown friends of Gabbie Hanna to send them messages about Gabbie Hanna. I'd love to see it. Because if you're going to share your testimony, I'd like to see proof. You want to change my heart? You want to change my mind? You want me to come? You want me to show up at this come to Jesus meeting? Then I'm going to need proof. I'm going to need to see some tangible evidence of any of this actually happening. Because one thing about you, Gabbie Hanna, is you're really, really, really consistent about exaggerating and sometimes downright lying.
but what I was able to really recenter today, and what God helped me to recenter with and like fought me this whole week as I was like slipping into a place of sin, of wrath, revenge, hatred, bitterness. Like one thought I had this week is that the more tools you surround yourself with,
There's a joke in there somewhere.
like the more avenues that you create to communicate with God, the more he'll communicate with you. For example, this devotional, it's called Zip It.
Great. So I assume this is the end of the video then.
And this kept getting served to me on TikTok, and I'm like, God's speaking to me. Like
This is what I'm talking about. This is that connection of OCD and religious psychosis. That looking for like those channels where like God is speaking to me. God is speaking to me. That's a sign from the universe or whatever. Like those things, those are very, very, very common OCD thought patterns. But also it'd be really sweet if she did zip it. So
have trouble controlling my mouth. I am quick to anger sometimes. I'm working on it, but I'm quick to anger. Like I hate that I can still swear. Like I'm trying really hard to give it up. But if I get mad enough, like that's when I grabbed it. Because at some point during this past week, I started swearing. And I was like, nope, that's why I bought this devotional. Because my husband hates it. And I hate it, especially because my husband hates it.
yeah. Now get in the kitchen and make him a sandwich.
And I don't want to do it. My husband's like, you know what? Let's go to the gym. Let's blow off a little steam. Because I was spiraling. And I was walking out of the door and God said, go get the book. So anyway, I went into that week with the intention of I have to just be not afraid to speak about this. And it wasn't perfect. You know, I would do things differently.
Yeah? Like what?
A lot of emotions. Obviously, I'm put right back into a place of who and where I was when that trauma was originally being inflicted, which was somebody who was very distant from God, who was reacting in a very different way to the same stimulus. Like it was very triggering, obviously.
Yeah, you know who could help with that? A therapist. Hope this helps.
So I've had to repent a lot this week of hate. I mean, it's literally like the worst sin, because the only command is to love God and love everyone and love yourself, literally, is the command. And I started acting in a way that wasn't loving, because for me, it was really easy to get to a place of name calling people who have called me horrible names, trying to hurt people who have hurt me. God really pulled me out of it, because there was a couple days where I was crying.
Oh my God, she was crying. That's crazy. I can't believe it.
I was really upset. Like drama upsets me. Any night that I go to bed thinking about anyone or anything other than God and my husband is a loss to me.
What about the sandwich that you made for him earlier? Was it not good?
And I lost a few nights going to bed and waking up thinking about other people I don't have fond memories about or of. Like it was just not a good place to be.
Hey, but again, like all the other situations, you put yourself there. You opted to open up that can of worms, and holy shit, we've seen this. We've seen your work. We've seen all this before. So we're ready for your nonsense. I really think what it comes down to is that she's pissed off that we remember what happened last time. and we're going to correct the record. And we're not going to stand for her coming for people like Jesse. I mean, I don't know what everyone's, mutual stance is on Trisha Paytas, but I do applaud Trisha for not saying a goddamn thing. I think that's the move, but like, we're not going to sit here and let you do this shit again. Your behavior in the past has been absolutely vile. I wouldn't treat the people I actually don't like in life like that. And the fact that Gabbie Hanna has been so very comfortable hopping online and calling women bitches that, have been in any way critical of her, or, like I said before, like making fun of Dustin Daly for crying, mistakenly thinking it was about her, as if she would be bringing him to tears when his sister had just passed away. She's just a mean, nasty person, and she always has been. And I don't buy this fucking religious arc. I do think it's a combination of OCD and just being trapped in some kind of religious psychosis. I recognize the thought patterns. Like, I don't buy this shit. I don't buy it. Sorry.
And instead of getting stuck in that and spiraling in that, which is very easy to do, I was grounded in Jesus. I was grounded in his word, in what he says to do. He says, never pay back evil with more evil. Do things in such a way that everyone can see you are honorable. Do all that you can to live in peace with everyone. Romans 12:17-18.
Wow, that passage probably would have come in handy before you filmed the last episode, huh?
And then somebody here added, this is not weakness, this is warfare. Anyone can react, anyone can clap back, anyone can return the insult. But we're told, dear friends, don't take revenge. And had I been in my word, had I been reading the Bible every morning, had I been praying, had I been meditating on the word, had I been talking to God, had I been asking him to guide me to scripture, I could have saved a couple days. I could have really, instead of waking up and going to my Bible, I was waking up and going to TikTok comments. You know what I mean? Like, it's all consuming.
Okay, but it's only all consuming if you let it be. I appreciate the moment of self-reflection and saying like, hey, this wasn't good for me. I shouldn't do this. But like, you shouldn't be online at all, in my opinion. And not because I don't want to see your face or hear your mouth. Like, if you were just out here creating shit and doing art and doing story times and like doing fun shit with your husband, like, I really wouldn't give a fuck. I would have nothing to say about anything. And the reality is that there has to be a part of Gabbie Hanna that loves this drama, that loves and thrives on it, whether she realizes it or not. Because people who don't actually like drama, who don't actually want to do this, don't light a match at the gas station. You know what I'm saying?
And then here's where God allowed me to not only move on from this in this moment, but to actually, truly, not only forgive, truly forgive, not just say forgive and pray that you can forgive, but actually forgive these people. He shifted my hate to empathy, compassion, love, and sorrow in a meaningful way.
I genuinely don't believe Gabbie Hanna knows how to express empathy. I'm not calling her a sociopath or anything, but like, I don't think, unless it's somebody she's in absolute favor with and they are in absolute favor of her, I don't think she actually possesses the ability to empathize with anyone at all. And I think she also only rejects empathy from people who are not like, in her favor as well. I think it's a two-way street there.
Because he reminded me what that life felt like. Because that's not what my life looks and feels like most of the time. I'm not thinking about this stuff most of the time because most of the time I'm offline.
Stay there. You don't need to be here. Put the fries in the bag and do something else, sister. Like, this does not need to be the Gabbie Hanna testimony podcast. We've heard your testimony. Even your commenters have said, we heard your testimony already. We have heard this already. We watched it unfold in real time. We have seen it. We are now seeing that you have not changed, other than throwing the Bible verses and notes about God and Jesus into your diatribes. Those are the only things that have changed here. And now you have an almost better haircut.
But as soon as I come back online and it's just, oh, Gabbie Hanna's back, maybe let's just leave her alone.
Girl, we were leaving you alone. We were leaving you alone. We 100% were leaving you alone. No one was talking disparagingly about you until you started posting TikTok after TikTok after TikTok that were a little unhinged. Okay? TikTok after TikTok. And again, it's pattern recognition, babe. Last time we watched you do TikTok after TikTok after TikTok, you were screaming into your mirror. And so, yeah, we kind of recognize when things are going off the rails. No one's hoping that they are. We're just recognizing the patterns that got us there the last time. And also the time before that.
Living in that hate was such a nightmare. Living in that drama was such a nightmare. I used to live like that all the time. And knowing that these people live like that all the time.
We don't. We really don't. This is grade A projection. We do not live like that. None of these people that you mentioned think about you at all. Except when we're making a video. That's the only time I think about you. And like I said, when I'm done editing a video about you, I'm really glad I don't have to think about you anymore. You're an interesting person to talk about. I'll give you that. Gabbie Hanna is a very interesting person to talk about. Because it is fascinating to watch somebody have absolutely no self-awareness and then project all of their insecurities and their own wrongdoings onto other people over and over. Lather, rinse, repeat. It's always the same. It doesn't matter how much attention you do or do not give her, she's going to come back and do this. Gabbie Hanna is a cicada that resurfaces every few years to sit in a tree and scream.
God freed me from that life of hate, toxicity, negativity, just trying to bring others down, because it's one thing to receive hate. That is something that I can do. That is something I can handle. That is something that God has made me feel pretty bulletproof to for the most part.
Which is a really interesting thing to say when you can't take basic criticism and then you confuse criticism for hate. Instead of hearing the thing that people are saying as if it's a conversation, what you're hearing is,
We hate you and you're stupid and you're ugly and I want to make fun of you and I'm going to call you names and I'm going to throw rocks.
the dichotomy between what is being said and what Gabbie is apparently inferring is being said. Very, very interesting juxtaposition of actual output.
Like, I am always at all times constantly receiving hate, either to my face, online, or in the energy that I feel.
Well, perhaps because energy in, energy out, energy out, energy in, maybe the energy that you're putting out in the world, the energy you've been putting out in the world over the past 5-6 years or so, that isn't just erased by you not being on the internet for a little while and then coming back and doing the same shit, maybe that energy is negative. Maybe it's bad, demonic, or whatever. Maybe that energy that you've put out in the world isn't that great. So the energy that you're receiving from the world, also not great. And I don't deny that Gabbie Hanna receives hate. I don't think she's receiving hate from drama channels, though, which is what this episode was supposed to be about. You're receiving criticism from drama channels, commentary channels. The hate you're receiving in your TikTok comments is not from drama channels. That's from people. And everybody who exists on the internet in some capacity has received a hate comment. Yours are more illustrious and frequent because you've been an asshole on the internet a lot. And that's not meant to be insulting. It's just a fact. We've watched you act like an asshole for a long time. And that doesn't just disappear because you found God. You have to make amends. You have to make actual apologies. You have to fix the situation. You don't just get to ignore it, come back, claim you're the victim, and then, like, get your flowers. Again, it's not the trauma Olympics, babe.
From all of the millions of people hating on me online, right? That is irrelevant. But when the hate is coming from within you, when the hate is spewing out of you, when you're carrying that hate, that obsession with another person, this idea of retaliation or revenge or exposing or winning, like that feeling, I would not wish on my worst enemy. And I woke up this morning with so much gratitude that all of my prayers for wisdom, for discipline, for God to keep me safe and out of this path again were answered in a million ways, in my actual spirit, in the way that God literally changes my entire For You page. This, as soon as I say a prayer, as soon as I stop feeding into the negativity and I say a prayer, my For You page immediately becomes exactly what I need to hear about forgiveness, about not having hate in your heart, about being the model.
Again, I have to agree with the commenter. It's not God listening, it's just your devices. Yeah, the FYP, it's algorithmic. It's literally just an algorithm. But again, that links back to that OCD type thinking, that obsessive thinking, that looking for a sign, looking for, some sort of direction or directive, like very, very OCD pattern thinking.
Of Jesus, about being pure in your speech. It's so miraculous. Like when you just let him in and engage, like when you obey. That was the message I kept getting, is God doesn't need anything except your obedience. And he is working in your favor. Specifically, he is working in your reputation. He is working in rooms that you are not in. He is doing things you cannot see. Stop. Literally, my whole my feed changes to stop trying to defend yourself to people who are trying to misunderstand you. Like, God answered me.
Yes. God answered Gabbie Hanna for a quick change in her FYP and said, "Fuck them kids starving on the street. Gabbie Hanna needs me right now."
He made me pick up this as I was headed out of the door to the gym. Pick up your Zip It devotional that I put in your feed.
Yeah, and then honor it and shut up.
Over and over and over again until you bought it. See what word is in there for you today.
Yeah, because I sure know that when I've checked out something on the TikTok algorithm, for sure, it definitely doesn't pop up for me then again 900 more times after that. So it's pretty cool that I didn't realize God was in charge of that. He's got so many jobs.
He used all these tools that I allowed into my life and was able to communicate to me. He gave me my husband, who wants me to express myself. He wants me to tell my story.
He just doesn't want to be here to listen to me do it. Oh, Ken, you poor son of a bitch.
He wants me to advocate for myself as a victim and for other victims of psychological abuse, because it is real. My experience is real, and it's something that deserves and needs to be heard. There's so much wisdom in this. There's so much good storytelling in this, giving me scripture, reminding me, my husband, as I'm getting upset.
Did she forget his name too? Gabbie, you could call him Ken. I can't take credit for that. Peter Mon did that, but it's still... Go for it, girl. The Tammy Faye Baker is the shit.
Even just behind the scenes saying hateful things about these people. Truly, what is online is not even close to the way that I have felt about these people.
Okay, but you're not telling us anything. Your story is so important and there's so much wisdom in this and blah, 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 blah. You haven't told us a goddamn thing. Except that you had hate in your heart for commentary channels and drama channels. And for whatever reason, God changed your FYP and now you're full of gratitude instead. This is groundbreaking. I'm so glad we're finally getting to your testimony. These are all new things that I've never heard before, and my heart and mind are just changing as we speak.
And my husband reminding me, they have their own trauma. They're acting out of XYZ. We are all victims of this world.
Yeah, girl, but the rest of us are not sitting here screaming about how we're victims of this world. We're just getting on with our lives. We're not so wrapped up in you that it consumes us, where you are so wrapped up in us that it consumes you. You're this artist who has these gifts and you can paint and make music and write books and poetry, and go fucking do that. Express yourself in that way, because this is not it. This is not going to do anything for you. This is not making your problem better. It's not even getting views.
You have to love them. Jesus died for them too. Jesus died for them too.
Who cares?
Like, it's easy for me to judge their version of this sin because I can't personally imagine going to that extreme to hurt people.
Right. We just hear out our ex-best friend's rapist because he's a human being. I can't imagine going to that extreme to hurt people, or to say that, victim of sexual assault was just waiting for a moment to get emotional on the call, and that's why she was filming it, which is a really disgusting thing to say about anybody, whether you like them or not. I can't imagine going to the extreme of making a multi-panel Instagram story calling a creator who thoughtfully and constructively criticized one of your books and just didn't care for it, calling her a bitch over and over and over and over and over, and making up stories about her and exaggerating stories about her. Yeah, that's pretty holy of you.
But what else have I done personally?
You actually want me to make you a list? Because I could.
Because I've definitely been greedy, hateful, prideful, condescending, retaliatory, like exploitative. Like, I've done everything that they do, just not the way they do it.
Right. Sure. That's the same.
And that's what my husband had to remind me too. Like, that's what God reminded me too. Like, we all have sin, and ultimately they are just the vessel that God was using to get to me. And that was something else I had to get really centered and grounded in too, is that these people saved my life. They saved my life. And all of the prayer and all of the time and journaling and thought and reflection that I've done about this, I have thanked these people a million times to God. I have thanked these people in spirit. Like, I know that you have been such a tool. Like, if it weren't for any of these people, like, I just started seeing them as like these small children.
Yeah, girl, I'm like 5 years older than you. It's a job. I like my job. It's a blast because I get to come here and talk about whatever the hell I want. And believe it or not, most of the time, that's not you. So, it used to be. It used to be, for sure. But this holier than thou, like, I look at all these people like they're children, and they're just wounded children. Like, get the fuck over yourself. Get over yourself. Nothing's ever going to be better for you until you actually acknowledge the real issues. And you never will.
Who, I don't know what they've been through. Like, I don't know what they were raised up with.
And you don't need to. You really don't. You really don't. Because this is how people in religious psychosis and people who treat religion like it's a band-aid for the real problems in their lives, this is what they do, is they turn it into a condescending diatribe about how I see them as the little people, and they just, you know what, they're just hurt. That's all it is. So I'm gonna forgive them. Like, we don't need your forgiveness, girl. We don't need your forgiveness. We don't need your love. We don't need your compassion. We don't need your empathy. We don't need any of it. The only work you need to be doing is on yourself. We're doing fine. No one's slandering you. No one's taking anything out of context. No one's making any lies up. The only thing featured in these videos are typically just you and your own goddamn words.
I don't know what they believe or why they believe it or why they don't. Like, I don't know anything. I don't know their past. And I'm just so grateful that, like, I was raised up with God. I was raised up with the fear of God and the knowledge of Jesus Christ. That I was raised up with that baptism so that I wasn't able to go down that path as well.
Girl. Girl. Are we really doing this right now? Is this what we're doing? This is what we're doing. Oh my God.
And I'm thankful that he's faithful to me today, in that this week when I was about to go down that path, when I was getting really hateful and retaliatory, that he stopped me. And he's like, why are you envious of these people, Gabrielle? Why are you envious of these people? You don't want what they have.
And we don't want what you have either. Sounds like a symbiotic relationship, you weirdo.
Stop trying to sit down at tables that I didn't leave room for you at. Exit. But I just want to let you know that there is a happier life. There is a more purposeful, meaningful, loving, fulfilling life. There is a more peaceful, joyful, comfortable life. There is something that's going to take away that anxiety, that depression, that darkness, that addiction, that hatred. I'm relating to you.
You're not, though, because you're horribly missing the mark. Most of us have fulfilling lives. This is just a job. I can understand the delineation between how that feels for you and how that feels for us, because this is your life that we comment on. But you put your life online and you made choices that were bad. So because those choices are following you around does not mean that we're walking around with hate in our hearts or that we have unfulfilling lives. We have a fantastic life. The difference is that if Gabbie Hanna wasn't on the internet anymore after tomorrow, it wouldn't impact us in the slightest. But if we all left the internet tomorrow, Gabbie Hanna would have to rebuild her career from the bottom up, and her reputation would still precede her. So, just some food for thought.
I'm relating to you. It's not easy, but it is worth it. And I really am sorry to you guys and to the public for engaging in this at any point over the years. Okay, so that was my testimony of the week. Now I get to tell you my testimony of my life. I'm going to get a coffee first, though.
That's the end of part one, thank God. I really, one thing about Gabbie Hanna that has always driven me nuts, and I don't know why this bothers me so much, maybe it's the Capricorn in me. This whole giving like life advice to people who don't need it and have not asked for it, even when it's like outlandish, like people like Taylor Swift and shit, like is so, it says so much more about her than a lot of things. Like it's such an egotistical thing, and it's weird. Anyhow, I don't remember how much I touched on this earlier, but Gabbie definitely made a bunch of posts about Adam McIntyre on her Patreon, which is public and free to view, by the way, so I'm not telling you things that are behind a paywall. Just FYI, I wouldn't do that. Tagged him earlier over the weekend about it, and then I deleted it right away because I was like, you know what, I'm not gonna participate in the reheated nachos Olympics here. Like, it's just not for me. But apparently he got wind of it anyway, and I guess he reacted to it earlier today, so I watched that a little bit ago. And then I saw that Gabbie herself also made a TikTok about Adam McIntyre making a video about her. And I haven't watched this yet, so I'm very curious. Let's watch it together, and then we're all going to go to bed. Not with me. You're going to go to bed on your own. You need the rest.
The drama channels to see, comment on. Nothing that I've said in there at any point is secret or off limits. However, I think the reason I'm feeling the desire to just really talk to you is because I want you to understand that, like, you're not a good person. And I'm saying this with love.
Yes, because I think we all know the arbiter of good personhood is absolutely Gabbie Hanna.
I just don't want to see you live this life of just like hypocritical, wicked, hateful behavior.
Nobody gives a shit what you want. Sorry. I really like this whole like, I don't want to see X, Y, and Z. You're not his mother. Leave him alone. He is a grown person. Leave him alone. You're weird. You're weird for this.
While simultaneously getting on a platform and trying to call everybody out for their sin.
Hello? 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 Pot? Kettle? I'm sorry, what was that whole first episode of your podcast about again?
Telling everybody how they should live, what they should be doing.
I'm sorry, did we not just get done with your whole diatribe about how drama channels could live a better life and here's how and da da da? Girl, this is all you do online these days. What are you talking about?
Because so often the things that you guys are criticizing me for is stuff that you're blatantly doing every day. The most obvious situation, Bianca Devins, saying that I'm exploiting a murder.
The only person who continues to bring up Bianca Devins is Gabbie Hanna. The only person who continues to bandy about the name Bianca Devins years after her murder, years after, like, basically holding her fucking family hostage in order to be like, Gabbie did nothing wrong. Like, she's the only one who brings up Bianca Devins ever. I don't even think I've ever heard Adam McIntyre utter the name Bianca Devins. Why are you bringing her up now? Enough with this shit.
Murdered child for views and clips when you guys are literally actually exploiting a murdered child.
No one talks about Bianca Devins. I spoke about her earlier to give context to a time when commentary channels actually gave Gabbie some grace and told her that she gave a good apology. Other than that, I have not heard anyone talk about Bianca Devins except Gabbie Hanna.
For views and clicks and money, right? That's just an example. But like in this case, I'm just thinking like, what if Gabbie Hanna reacted in a way that Adam McIntyre reacted, right? Where I'm just showing everyday people, showing profile pictures, showing names.
Girl, it's a public post. I typically try to edit out people. That's just my preference. Like, I try to edit out names and pictures. That's just my preference because I don't know if people want that shit posted or like if they would be like happy about it. But at the end of the day, if you are commenting publicly on a public post, it's fair game. I'm sorry. If you don't want it seen, then don't comment it. Or choose a different photo or choose a different name. Because when it's public, it's public. It is what it is.
And like sending hate on just like individuals who commented on somebody's Patreon.
Well, those people that I recommend you go watch Adam's video. Basically, he was in the comments of one of the posts about him directly, where they were basically talking about how Colleen didn't even do anything that bad and Adam canceled her and blah, 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 and what a shitty person he is. And he has every right to say, and the only things he said were fuck you to the people who were saying this. If you don't, if you're receiving huge amounts of backlash for something you've said, maybe you should watch what you say and at least have all your facts straight, babe. You know that Gabbie is baiting all of us to go look at all this shit every time she posts. Yeah, we're gonna see it. If you don't want that shit exposed, then watch your fucking mouth.
Right? You'd be like, she's using her influence to attack people. She's weaponizing her fan base.
You have 5 million subscribers, and you have weaponized your fan base on several occasions. I'm not trying to reheat that situation, okay? But the reality is that Gabbie Hanna has never had a problem being like, defend me how you see fit. And then just sending the army of Gabbie stands after people. Like, that is not an uncommon thing to have happened back then. It happened quite frequently. And like, whatever, water under the bridge, but like, Jesus Christ, like acting like you've never actually done exactly that with millions and millions. Like, Adam has 500,000, I think, on his main channel. And like, there's a big difference between 500,000 and 5 mil, dude.
She didn't even blur their picture. She didn't even blur their name. This is so evil. She's literally just trying to hurt people. Listen, Adam, let's be real. You have a lot more traction than I do. You get a lot more views than I do. You post and talk a lot more than I do. You're, for all intents and purposes, a lot more relevant and powerful than I am in this space, and that's okay. My problem is for you to come out here and act as if you're holier and better than everybody while saying that that's what I'm doing.
Well, it is what you're doing. That's literally what you're doing. You are literally doing that. You are literally using religion and God and Jesus and faith to purport that you are on some sort of higher plane than other people whose job is criticism of public figures. Wasn't that your whole MO for that last testimony podcast?
Right? But all you're doing is just like judging people, being hateful toward people, trying to expose people. And this is what I was talking about in that post where I'm like, I remember this feeling. And recently a week or so ago, I had to like relive this feeling of just hate spewing out of me, like waking up and going to bed angry, like wanting to hurt people. And I hate that you feel that. I hate that you feel that, Adam. I want you to feel happy. I want you to feel peace. I want you to feel love.
Adam's in Japan. He's on vacation. I really think it's a testament to her ego how much she thinks that all of these people think about her. We don't think about you. I don't know how to make that any clearer. I literally can't wait till the battery on my camera dies so I can stop thinking about you this evening. Not carrying around the hatred for you. I don't hate you. That's me. I can't speak for all the channels. I don't hate you. I actually used to really like you. I used to really like your content. I thought you were funny and relatable, and then I started to watch you treat people like crap, and that's when my opinion of you changed. Had nothing to do with Trisha Paytas, had nothing to do with Jessie Smiles. Well, I mean, it had something to do with Jessie Smiles, but it wasn't her influence that changed my mind, nor was it any drama channel. It was literally your own behavior and your inability to take accountability for anything or to have been wrong about anything. That's the facts. If you want to continue to believe that it's drama channels poisoning the minds of people who are too stupid to think critically for themselves, then okay, sure, enjoy your delusions.
I want you to not fight evil with evil. I want you to follow Jesus Christ and actually be better.
I can't speak for Adam, but I can speak for myself. No. Hope that helps.
Than everybody. Don't just act like you're better. Don't just say you're better. Don't just deflect from your own sin and wrath and greed and
yeah, don't be like Gabbie, Hanna.
Hate and evil in order to make money. Like, actually be the change that you want to see, inspire people. And I want to encourage you to do that. I want to encourage you to hold yourself to the same standard that you hold everybody else. Now, I understand that the conversation you were reacting to may have been really triggering. You already know I'm not going to watch a video, Adam.
Okay, and this is the problem. And this inherently lies the problem. Because we've had this exact conversation several times with various drama channels, commentary channels, where she'll say, oh my God, they're so hateful, they're so mean, all they do is spew hate and they're just evil. Of course, I don't watch the videos, but maybe you should. Maybe a good exercise for 2026 should be actually taking in meaningful commentary about your own behavior. It might be revealing in a good way.
I don't think I've ever watched a full video of you. The only time I've ever watched a drama channel video in my life is when I had to like respond to you. I'm not going to go and watch, but I can see the comments.
Okay, but that's really interesting, considering in that post about him and in the comment section of the post about him, she seemed to sure know an awful lot about the Colleen Ballinger situation. And since Colleen Ballinger's real only response, other than going on that shitty podcast with Raven Simone and her wife, was the fucking Toxic Gossip Train song, where'd you get all that tea from if you're not watching any drama channels? I'll wait.
And I know your energy. I know sort of your like MO, and I just want you to break out of it. I want you to be better. And I'm sorry about this situation that's obviously very triggering to you. That's what I wanted to say on that point, is this is obviously a situation that's extremely triggering, and I am definitely not the person who's gonna like downplay that.
Right. You just said that it was weird that Colleen would send him, a then minor, Trisha Paytas's nudes, which is not only not just weird, it's also illegal and technically sexual harassment. But yeah, you're not going to downplay it. And it is triggering, I would imagine, still for him. And why are you talking about that? It's got nothing to do with you. You have your own problems. And why do you think anyone cares what you want from them? Again, you're not the arbiter of all this shit. You're someone who used to have a successful YouTube channel and then had a series of manic episodes. Like, no one's looking for your advice. In fact, I think people are trying to actively avoid it.
I've never commented on that situation because I haven't done the research on the situation, and it's just not my place to comment on it. So this is by no means trying to say, like, you're not valid in your feelings or anything that went down, right? And I know that that's what people were kind of discussing in the comments there. But for you to retaliate...
No one's retaliating. You reacted to the post that you made, and rightfully so, out loud said to the commenters, fuck off. Fuck you. That's it. He didn't say go harass them, team. That's a Gabbie Hanna move.
On just like everyday commenters like that, for you to like be that type of like vindictive and sort of like wield this power of, look at all these followers I have and I'm gonna send them to hurt these people who are commenting privately in a Patreon.
Girl, that's not private, it's public. First of all, it's not private, it's public. If you want it to be private, put it behind a paywall and no one will see it. Okay? If you want it to be private, make it private. If you want to protect your commenters who are spouting off their mouth on a public post, then make it private. You don't get to have it both ways.
I just hope that you can really see how like hypocritical and maniacal that is. And I really pray that you can like repent.
Hey, where's that zip it devotional when you need it?
And be like, you know what? I want to be better. I want to be loving. I want to be patient. I want to be kind. I want to be honest. I want to be forgiving. I want to move on. I want to accept that people are going to think things about me that aren't true. I'm going to accept that people are going to diminish what I experienced.
Hello? I mean, this is like a movie theater size projector at this point, right? Like, this is holy shit. I can't imagine anyone ever projecting this hard. Like, this has to be almost satire because she's projecting so hard. There's 6 minutes of this left.
Because that's what happened to me. And that's what I'm saying. Like, I relate to you. I understand you. I understand just the hate and the anger and the reactivity. But I pray that you can just not be defensive about this and like really take it and like pray.
Yeah, but like the difference is like Adam shouldn't have to just take people talking about how he's a piece of shit who ruined Colleen Ballinger's life when Colleen Ballinger essentially groomed him and was in group chats with kids talking about their periods and her sex life and her husband's penis and her divorce and all kinds of horrific things. So she literally abandoned him in a city he did not know. So let's maybe zip it.
Be like, you know what? Is this how I want to feel? Is this how I want to spend my life? Is this how I want to live? Do I really just want to wake up and go to bed every day being mad at somebody, trying to expose somebody?
Are we talking about you now, or are we talking about Colleen still? Because, like, anybody who was a victim of Colleen Ballinger can talk about it for as long as they want. Anybody who's an actual victim of anything can be vocal about it for as long as they want. The difference here is that Gabbie Hanna is not a victim of any of these people. People are allowed to have opinions, and they're allowed to be loud about them. And I went and looked in the comment section on that post, and literally, with the exception of one person who said, F you, Gabbie, there wasn't hate. There was correcting the record in an unpleasant fashion. And that's about it. And that's not me, like, watering down some nasty responses. Like, you're being very loud and very wrong about a situation you admittedly don't have the information for. So again, grab the devotional and zip it.
Trying to hurt somebody, trying to retaliate against somebody, trying to prove that what I went through was actually wrong and that I'm a victim in this situation. Again, I'm relating to you. And I just don't want this life for you. You're too young.
You are condescending and weird. And also, like, the path of things you're saying is very non-linear. And mind your own business then. If you don't want to hear what Adam has to say and you think that him falling down this line of becoming a hypocrite or, you know, criticizing you in any capacity is just not fair, and it's hard for you to see, then don't see it. Stop seeking it out. Because you knew exactly what you were doing, in my opinion. You know that you're calling out drama channels by name because you want them to talk about you. You want all of us to talk about you. So I don't want to say, like, so you can find some form of relevancy, but, like, because the story was that you're always just defending yourself. But what are you defending yourself from?
And you have charisma. Listen, you and all the drama channels, like, there's obviously no denying that you guys have some type of it factor. You have some type of charisma. Because even though I hate what you're doing, I don't think it takes a whole lot of talent to be hateful. I don't think it takes a whole lot of skill. I don't think you have to be real interesting in order to talk about somebody else.
Do you have to have a lot of skill to watch the videos, to actually listen to the commentary, to find out whether or not what they're saying is actually hateful or if it's thoughtful, conscious, constructive criticism? Because otherwise, if you're just criticizing someone else's content without actually having watched it, that just tells me you're ignorant. I mean, you're the literal definition of ignorant. You are choosing to remain ignorant to the things that are actually being said. You are creating a narrative in your head, and then you're projecting that on everyone else. So I don't think your path is the right one.
But at the end of the day, a lot of people do that, and not a lot of people are as successful as you are at being hateful, and that's just facts. So you have that it factor. I don't want to take that from you, but I do want to encourage you to do something with your talent. Do something with it.
He is. He's making commentary videos and is currently vacationing in Japan, so I think he's doing fine. And I would like to encourage you to mind your own business and maybe do something with your time that isn't continuing to consume yourself with other people's opinions of you.
Do something with your audience. Do something good. Do charity. Like, spread awareness. And try to shift culture. Like, that's, if I had that type of influence back, if I was still doing the thing where I'm like getting online and trying to like post and get followers and get engagement and do the thumbnails and all that stuff, I just would do it all different. I would try to just be so influential for the right reasons. I would just want to shift culture into a way that's like, you don't have to buy luxury, you don't have to beat your face, you don't have to make it all about vanity, pride, ego, hate, envy, greed. Like, it doesn't have to be about that. It can be about love, charity, wholesomeness, humility. Like,
yeah, sure, it could, but that without being completely disingenuous. Like, for example, Gabbie posted this Instagram story. In the story, she says she's made merch of the dying babies on the street thing, which, like, she always calls all those things a meme, and, like, yeah, I guess it became kind of a meme, but, like, it became, like, a trending sound, I guess, but, like, whatever. And then she's going to donate the proceeds from it to a charity that is unnamed for dying babies in the street, and doubtful we'll see a receipt for which organization that she's choosing. But please make sure you buy my shirt so that money can go to ambiguous charity. I don't know. I think there are a lot of good creators who raise awareness and bring a voice to other causes and can still make thoughtful and sometimes bitchy commentary about other people. I think both things can exist at the same time.
that's what I'm trying to see, and that's what I'm trying to be. That's what I'm trying to be.
Okay, then that's a you thing. You, as a 35-year-old woman, should probably stay out of the business of a 23-year-old man. He's had enough women your age in his business. Might be time to step off a little. Just my 2 cents that you didn't ask for.
If there's any reason why I would want to like try to come back and do this part of my life again, it would be to just try to use the influence for good, because there's so much evil. There's so much evil, and I just really don't want you to be a part of that.
I think the #1 cure for keeping Adam McIntyre away from becoming evil is minding your own damn business.
So anyway, Adam, I'm praying for you always. I genuinely pray for you all the time.
I'm praying for whoever cut your hair in the dark.
Like, you're in my prayer list, And I still see you as that little kid. I'm just saying. And honestly, that post that I made, that I'm assuming you probably read that one. Yeah, of course you read that one. Like, I feel the same way about Angelica now. I feel the same way about, like, Dustin Daly, Nick Snyder. A lot of them I just can't even remember, like, their faces, or they didn't have faces, or maybe they didn't then and do now. But, like, for you, Angelica, like, I'm just imagining these, like, little kids, right, who are just so immersed and absorbed in this culture. And we are a product of our environments, and you were raised in that culture. Like, I can't really, like, judge you or blame you for, like, your journey, but
like, you're gonna anyway. Finished it for you.
I do hope to encourage you to do something better and different, meaningful, something that's actually serving the world. Because the way you're feeling right now, that, like, these things that I'm seeing in my, like, chat and stuff, is like, Adam's mad, like, he's coming back, he's, like, fighting people, he's showing people's pictures,
Girl, he literally just said to the few commenters who were horrible to him, who said nasty things about him, literally all he said was F off. That's it. So you're just, unless I really missed a chapter here, it sounds like once again we are absolutely exaggerating things to make them sound way worse than they are. And additionally, I'd like to point out that it's always the people who are just emotionally struggle bussing on the internet who are just trying to give out life advice. Nobody wants life advice. Like, and I don't mean this as like I'm trying to be insulting and I'm trying to just like get digs in at someone. No one wants life advice from Gabbie Hanna. No one wants life advice from Gabbie Hanna. You are not a success story that people look to and go, oh my God, I wish I could be like that. Sure, there are like a handful of people in your Patreon probably who feel that way, but they are like the minority. And genuinely, I think this series has only created more of a distance between the people who do feel that way and the people who see you for what you are. And I mean see you for what you are because you've shown us who you are over and over and over again. And you can rewrite the story as many times as you want, and you can give out the life advice no one asked for as many times as you want. You can use the word God and testimony and narcissistic abuser and slander all you want. It's not gonna change what happened.
Like, really upset about this. I don't want you to feel that. I don't. And I'm really grateful to my Lord and Savior Jesus Christ that I don't feel that anymore. Sometimes I do. Sometimes I slip up. Sometimes you trigger me, Adam. Sometimes all your little drama channel friends and all the people who like started this slander, sometimes y'all trigger me.
Not slander. And also, how can they trigger you if you're not even watching the videos? You're not even listening. You don't even care. You just want to be the victim.
But I still love you, and I still want you to win, because I recognize that this life is temporary. We're all living our own trauma. We all had to go through our own thing. We're all on our own journey, but all of it at the end of the day is meant to bring us back to God, because this earth is finite. I don't know what you believe in.
I know, but whatever it is, you're going to push God on us. Got it.
I don't know if you believe in heaven, hell, energy, whatever. If there's a part of you that believes there is a life after this life, that your soul is going on, and you think that in this life you can be negative, hateful, retaliatory, exposing, obsessed with everybody but God and yourself and your own mission.
The way she uses the word, I don't think Gabbie Hanna knows what a lot of words mean. No one's obsessed with you, babe. In a good way or a bad way.
That you can just live for greed, vanity, pride, internet. Like, you are literally selling your soul.
Yeah, even if that were the case, still none of your business. Why don't you worry about your own life instead of being in everyone else's business?
You may not have met the devil and shook his hand, but when you're getting paid to glorify Satan and to glorify evil, and make no mistake, gossip, slander, this toxic, hateful mess, all God and Jesus tell us to do, all Jesus tells us to do is love. And nothing about what you're doing is loving. So if there's a part of you that says, you know what, I believe in heaven and there's a way to get there, I want it to be clear, I want this to be your warning, that hate is not going to get you into heaven, period. Period. You gotta lead with love. What would Jesus do?
He would say,
even if you don't believe in Jesus, ask yourself, would Jesus say that?
well, if you don't believe in Jesus, why would you ask yourself that?
The most holy, perfect man who we're talking about all these years later, whether you believe in him as Savior or not, would Jesus say that? Would he do that? Is that how God wants you to spend your time? Is this the highest calling that God has on your life?
Is this the highest calling that God has on your life?
Do you believe that this is all that God has planned for you, Adam McIntyre? Because I don't. I believe that you're meant to be a force to change this world, and I hate seeing you waste your potential like this. I really do.
Yeah. Go buy a devotional that shows up on your FYP and wait for God to then change your FYP. That seems like a way better use of your time.
Anyway, I love you. Praying for you always. God bless you. Have a good rest of your day.
Anyway, I'm looking forward to editing this. I feel like there's going to be a lot of inserts in this bad boy. As always, as promised, I'm exhausted and I can't wait to not think about Gabbie Hanna anymore, so I'm going to step away from this. And I'm sure there's going to be another episode on Friday, so we can all collectively, internally scream together then. In the meantime, what would Jesus do? Not any of this. Okay, subscribe.
Face yourself, bitch.